We will have less than 1 hour session. This is not dedicated to any software. First of all, we would like to speak about methodology, which is the Monte Carlo Risk Simulation, is one of the technique which help us to integrate uncertainty to our project plan, because we have two types of the risk planning for qualitative and quantitative. And one of the major problem when we create the project schedule is uncertainty. And due to uncertainty, people are having a different approach for estimation of time, estimation of the budget. And Monte Carlo Risk Simulation is definitely the right method which help us to implement uncertainty to our project plan. Doesn't matter, we use Microsoft Project, we use Primavera, or we use Powerproject. This method is for globally, can be even used by manual without any scheduling options. But if you integrate it with your scheduling software, it will be very powerful, because you can get a chain reaction for the uncertainty for the following links with the CPM methods. A little bit about myself. I'm a civil engineer, and we are from Poland, and I'm having experience over 20 years with the project management system methodologies. Risk analysis is one of the technique which I am very familiar with. I've been implementation specialist for PackMaster and become an Oracle Primavera risk analysis. And also I'm an implementation specialist for Powerproject risk analysis. So that today our major idea, we will create the risk report, the schedule from Primavera or schedule from Microsoft Project, but we will use Powerproject for the risk analysis. And as I mentioned that I've been working very long time with the project management system, me personally taking the active role for implementation and consulting services over 500 customers in worldwide. You can follow my articles in my LinkedIn account. And I work for FND, and we are based in Poland, and together with our international partner, delivering the project management system training consulting in many worldwide projects, small, medium, and very big projects. We implemented the system, and happy to being a part of this organization for more than 15 years. All right. Now, I mentioned about that the risk analysis, we are planning to implement it to our project schedule. But before the risk analysis technique, we need to understand what type of schedule today people are running in their projects. And our statistic, our experience also show that there are different type of approach. And if we categorize these followings, that one is the most likely approach, which is Monte Carlo Risk Simulation is also very much supporting the most likely approach. This is the realistic schedule, and our aim is having a realistic schedule to achieve the most realistic estimation of the time and budget for our project. But people also using the aggressive schedule, and the different term is we call optimistic schedule. And I will explain in a moment what does it mean optimistic, what does it mean pessimistic schedule. And another technique which people use or when they are estimating their schedule is a pessimistic approach, which is cautious schedule. And of course, very common, we are having this experience that many people are also using political schedule that we do job, but make planning behind our reality. So that this we call the scale the field schedule. And this very much happening actually scheduling and planning is not a reporting, so that many people are using planning systems for reporting purposes. Planning system help us estimation, and of course reporting is important. What we done is based what we are going to do. That's why this is very important to use the right tool in the right place. Okay, so let's check what does it mean pessimistic planning approach. And I'm 100% sure you are familiar with this. Maybe the name you don't call pessimistic planning, but if you look at your experience in your organization, you may be having similar experience. For example, let's call that I'm an electrical engineer, and my job is preparing the electrical design documents, or I'm site person, electrical engineer, electric group chef, and then my job is making installation of electric system in the building. Okay, so we have a meeting with our planning engineer, and planning engineer asked me, well, Tekin, could you please tell me how much time you need to complete the work for this area? And my first estimation is that, let's say 10 days. Okay, so I just consider 10 days, but telling the planning engineer 10 days can be risky for my individual purposes. So that what I am doing, I am just reporting him and telling him that, listen, I can do it in 12 days. My aim just saying that 12 days is that if I do it in 12 days, I will be safe. So I will have 2 days more, just in case. And if I do it in 12 days, nobody will be angry to me. But if I tell them 10 days and do it in 12 days, I may have a trouble. So that what I do, I add the risk end of my real estimation, and I report it as a 12 days. Of course, our planning engineer is an experience, and considering that, okay, Tekin said 12 days, but I want to be safe when I'm preparing the schedule, because he can be delayed. His delay can cause another person delay, another department delay. So that what planner is doing, or boss is doing, let's say that our planner is just going to inform the boss or project manager, or that we can do it in 15 days. So that he also add another buffer, which is 3 days more, and the job become a 15 days. And of course, our boss is experienced and saying that, well, if I agree with the client 15 days, if I don't deliver in 15 days, we will have a problem. We have to pay penalty. Better, I will agree with him that, let's say, 20 days or something like this. This is another one. But if you look at it from the perspective, let's say, okay, our boss is agree for the 15 days, and I receive the task in 15 days. And what is happening? First 2 days, which is that there is a approach that I have this 2 days buffer, and I'm just using this 2 days buffer at the beginning, and I'm saying, okay, I'm in Facebook. Then another 3 days, I'm in Twitter or another place. So that what happened, the 5 days I have used, and I have not started my project, because my belief that this is a 10 days job, I can do it anyway in 10 days, so that this first 5 days, okay, I have done nothing, or I perform very little job with the low performance, because I'm not very well motivated, because I believe that the 10 days will be enough for me to complete the work. This is what I believe, because my estimation was the 10 days. Of course that this is my approach, and we call, actually, this is a specific things that we start in the last, as late as possible in the last moments, which is this is the call in different terms, like student syndrome, okay? Or people are calling this the Parkinson law, which is that the job can start as late as possible, right? So what's happening? And after I start in 10 days, I just realized 80% of time left, but I have not deliver 50% of the job, because it might happen my first estimation was not correct. That's why I have some trouble in the later. What question is, what is the advantage and disadvantage of these methods? Okay, because there are some advantages and some disadvantages. So that if you look at it for a pessimistic approach, which is we are having a 10 days job, and this was my 10 days estimation, but I put it here 5 days so that my schedule, because of this, that moved to here late start, so that I created here 5 days gap for the remaining of the work. Of course, my project is postponed because of my estimation, all right? But I am safe if my project, my activity, it will be the delay. This is the approach which is we call pessimistic schedule. And there are, of course, advantage, which is that you can be safe, but disadvantage is that we can have it delay for the other activities, starting for other activities, and it is one of the maybe worst type of scheduling method, which is causing that projects are having a longer duration than it is. It doesn't mean that we are finishing project on time, because that our relaxation causing us that we can finish our project late. Okay, but of course there are also some advantages that you can make yourself safe with this one, and you can minimize the delay. The second approach we call optimistic. This is completely opposite. That let's say that I'm the same guy, the same work. The next time my planner come to me and asking me that, okay, Takin, what is your estimation for the 10 day, for the working this job? And my job, I'm just thinking the 10 days. And planner is saying, listen, we have to do it very fast because we have not too much time. Total project should be finished, so that you have to do it very fast. So that I am just saying, okay, we are negotiating, and generally it's 10 days, but I can do it in 9 days, okay? So that I am giving something earlier than I can do, so that I say, okay, 9 days. And then we go to our boss or project manager, and project manager is saying, listen, what are you talking about? What does it mean 9 days? This is a job that you can do it in 2 days, 3 days, and you are really, because his estimation is like this, he will delay anyway. If I give him 9 days, he will do it in 12 days. Better I will tell him 5 days or 7 days, and he will push himself and finish in the 9 days. This is pushing that you can do it in 7 days, because the boss is believing that if we push 7 days, he will delay anyway, but 1 day, 2 days, in the end, I will get 9 days. This is very common approach we also use for subcontractor management. Push the subcontractor aggressive as possible and get what you can in the battle. Of course, there are advantages and disadvantages as well. So I can start my work in 7 days. What are advantages and disadvantages? And of course, you can motivate the team working faster and harder and focus on the job more. This is advantage, definitely. Because if I'm pushed by my management and my schedule, I will be dedicated to work and fully concentrated. This is definitely the right. But many cases happen, unrealistic, aggressive push can also cause demotivation of the team. Because if I believe I'm not able to finish this job in 7 days, and what my boss is speaking bullshit, and it's not achievable, I will never try to be pushing myself, because this is impossible. Another one, if it's happened once, my boss asked me to 7 days, and if I did not deliver in 7 days but the 10 days, and then my boss said nothing, it means that I will understand his tolerance of the delay, so that I will speak like this. If boss is saying 7 days, it means 10 days. So that it's 30% all the time he's cutting, so that if the subcontractor and team member find out this is the technique which the boss is using, and this is unrealistic and not achievable, nobody will respect it. What is the schedule? So that this is the disadvantage. That's why it's very important to have realistic push and realistic aggressive approach for the schedule. And as I mentioned that there are pluses and the minuses. But what is the most likely approach? Because if the job is really can be done in the best case in 7 days, the worst case in 15 days, all right? So that this means that this job can be rely on some outside factors, and this will help me to estimate best case, worst case, and most likely case term. What does it mean? When the next time our planner having a meeting with me and asking me that, Tekin, could you please tell me how much time you need, how many days you can finish the work? And I can talk to my planner like that. All right, this job is optimum 10 days job. This is the average 10 days. But if I have material on site, design document ready, nobody get ill, everybody on site, there will be no weather problem, no COVID cases, I am going to finish this job in 7 days. But if there will be no material delivery on time, if the design document is not clear as we expected, and we will stop the work and asking the designer or engineer, RFI, to provide us the detail, we will have problem for mobilization and demobilization from one location to another location. If we have a team before us complete the job and give the area on time to us, if there will be no problem for accessing the building, then I can do it in 17 days. So the factor which I have are uncertainty. And the uncertainty rates, you can say that, well, 70% and 150%. So that we start to speak about the best case and worst case and most likely case. So that in this case, I can give 3 points to my planner. Best case, 7, worst case, 15, optimum is 10 days job. So this is, we call the 3 points estimation for uncertainty, okay? And this is the solution which we use, that we can make the risk analysis, because if I have 10,000 activities, and for each activity is going and making that kind of calculation is horrible, because each activity can be less work, some activity different, some activity will not have any best case, worst case. So it will be really difficult. That's why Monte Carlo Risk Simulation is the best approach, but we need to have some tool which help us to estimate our best case and the worst case scenario. And with Powerproject, today we will do the example with Powerproject and how the Monte Carlo Risk Simulation is working. First of all, Monte Carlo name coming from the really Monte Carlo from France, from the gambling. And we are engineer during the mathematic lectures in our high school, we learn probability. And this is really name also coming from the gambling. This is a kind of gambling to let us not to gamble our project finished time. That's why we are using gambling techniques, avoid being a gambler, okay? So let's say that we have one task, and this task is around 10 days optimally, okay? And best case is 7 days, worst case is 17 days. I have 50 balls, okay? And this called iteration. And I put the 50 balls in the box, and one by one, I am selecting it. This is the range form, the envelope, and hidden critical path related. First time I pick up the ball, it's saying 10 days. Second time I pick up the ball, 9 days. The third time I pick up the ball, 14 days. So that I make it 50 iterations, and each time the ball is giving me the different iteration. But the point is, because of the most likely case for the simulation, that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of 50 is happening in the 10 times, 2 of 50 happening in the 7 times. So that I am more closer to 10 days than 17 days or 7 days. So that you can see that 50 iteration, it means that if I select 50 ball randomly from the envelope, one time it is 17. So that my calculation of the critical paths and duration estimation and uncertainty will use 1 time to 70. But 2 times in 50, 16, 3 times in 15, 50 and 15. So that it's most likely it's just showing the time. Okay. And doesn't matter which planning software you are using. You can be using Microsoft Project, you can be using the Powerproject, or you can using Primavera. Okay. But today we will do the example of the Powerproject, because Powerproject has out-of-box risk simulation, Monte Carlo risk simulation functionality. It's really affordable price. That's why it doesn't matter. You can create a schedule in Primavera. Today I will show Powerproject opening Primavera file without any data loss. So you can open the Primavera schedule in Powerproject and run the simulation and save back as a baseline to Primavera again. So we create the schedule in P6 or MS Project or Powerproject, open schedule in the Powerproject risk, run the Monte Carlo simulation, and we created probability 20 and probability 80 program and distribution report, and we can bring back the baseline to Primavera or Microsoft Project. And what is the result? So we get here our time distribution graphic. So it's saying that, okay, my project is best case going to finish here for let's call April 10, but you can have in here also it's the December, February, so that you can see the best case and the worst case scenario, which is that the best case is project is going to finish here for April 10, but the worst case it is finishing here February 4. But most likely our project is going to finish, this blue line, okay, is 17th of the September. Of course, there is some techniques. So when you make the risk analysis, some area, which is we also can remove from the calculation. So that this is that you can say that don't count this area, don't count this area, and focus on the most common area. So that this is the here for the best case for 19th of July, and here the worst case for October 16, and the most likely is that we are going to finish our project 17th of September. Okay, so this is an excellent feedback from the software, which I can report my management best case, worst case scenario. Of course, we can have for cost the same cost that you can see that this is my project cost, and this is the estimation is that this is for $630,000. This is most likely, but worst case is 640, and the best case is 620. So you get worst case, best case scenario for the project budget, project income as well. And so you can have it also here, information about the statistic, about the worst case and the worst case, the best case, the budget. And if we move back, so the next, what we can get, all right? We can also receive duration sensitivity reports. What does it mean, duration sensitivity report? And duration sensitivity, sometimes when we create a schedule, okay, we can have the two activities. Let's go, one activity is 2 days, another activity is 100 days. Okay, so I have two activities. And 2 days activity is critical. 100 days activities is, let's say we have 10 days, let's say, or 2 days total flow. Our first approach, first focus, critical activities. Because if the activity red, if the critical, this is critical, we have to focus on it. But we always know critical path can change during the project schedule. And that's why we need to focus on not only critical activities, but also activities which can be critical in the future because of the performance, because of the logic change. And duration sensitivity is an excellent feedback when you create the schedule. And this report is telling me that 97% the fabricate and delivery heat pump and control task is duration sensitive. It means this activity duration change, project duration can change. Is it critical or not critical? Doesn't matter. Okay, so that it's impacting the project durations. Design building addition is 12%, drivable offices at 10%, so that you can get the reports which activities are duration sensitive. Cost sensitive, you can also see that if the activity fabricate is that 59% impacting the project budget. And this is a sensitive activity for the cost, because I can have one activity $1,000, another activity $1 million. So my approach should be completely different for both activities. Okay, because one is a 1,000, another is a $1 million. So duration and cost sensitivity is giving an excellent focus for the project which I am working with. Of course, I mentioned about that this Primavera, we can create a schedule because many customers are using Primavera, and I can open the Primavera file in the Powerproject and run the risk simulations. And there is no data loss for both systems, so that if it is 517 days in Powerproject, 517 days to Primavera. And if the project budget 550,000, this is the 550,000. My project is finishing 25th of May. My project is finishing 25th of May. The same start date. And activity is critical, activities is critical. So links are the same. So if I have a schedule in Primavera, I can open the file in Powerproject without losing any data. All the cost distribution, all the dates are similar, so I can have no data lost. Everything will be the same if I open it. Let's check now to Primavera file. Okay, so let's move to demo. And this is the Primavera file. Okay, so I can have here my Primavera data, in which I created my schedule in Primavera and link the task. And this Primavera file I am opening in the Powerproject, because in Powerproject you can open the Primavera file without importing and exporting any Primavera formats, without data loss. So this is excellent integration for both the organizations. The same for Microsoft Project, the same for Primavera. You will be able to open the file. Okay, so I open the file. Let's see the critical paths. All right, these are the critical activities. I have project dates, finish, start, and budgeted cost. And I have my schedule. All the tasks are here in Powerproject. Okay, this is for the project Nesbit building. And now we can have here risk analysis. And if you select the risk analysis, and it's opening the Monte Carlo simulations, so that I can have it Monte Carlo and Light and Hypercube. And we just decided to have Monte Carlo simulation. And in Monte Carlo simulation, I also select the skipped triangular methods. You can also select the uniform, normal, skip normal into parts, and I just select this one. And number of iteration that how many bolts, how many versions I want to create. So I selected 100. I don't want to lose the time, but generally we suggest you 10,000 iteration, 100,000 iteration. How much more iteration you do, that much realistic data you get, because this is, we are doing analytics. Okay, so here I selected here the 100, and the task risk here is showing me that, okay, I can write it one by one for each activity, best case, worst case, but I am saying that I would like to have 80% durations minimum, 150% maximum. So in our example, it was 70 and 150. So that if the activity here is at 10 days, system will calculate it, best case is 7 days. If the activity 10 days, worst case will be here 150 days. So what I am doing now, I have no result here, and here select an option for generate the Monte Carlo simulations. System is creating now 100 copy, 100 time running randomly versions. One day, one time 10 days, another time 9 days, another time 11 days, another time 10, another time 10, another time 70. So we create randomly 100 versions, but each activity is separated. In activity A, one time is 10. Let's say I have two activities, A and B, both 10. Activity A in the one version can be 11. Activity B can be in the same version 7. It's not automatically increasing all of them or decreasing all of them. It's just a randomly increasing and decreasing. Okay, so it's making some, each individuals are separately. And we have run now schedule and 100 activities, and system generated me results. Okay, and the result is saying that 1% probability the project is going to finish 20 of February. Okay, my start date is June 16, so that because I used the Primavera file which has been created earlier date, that's why I opened it. I want to show that the same date, the 1st of June was a start date, and here 10% probability. 10% probability, my project is going to finish April 3rd. And my project budget, as you see here, 564,000 for 1%. And here you can see that it is for 10%, 579,000. So it's just giving me here for probability for 10%, 1%. I can go here 80%. So you can see that there are probabilistic results. If you go to reports, okay, distributions we can open. In the distribution, I can see my project is going to finish, as you see that this is the reports, and most likely, which is here, and this is my project is going to finish here for 9 of July. Worst case, okay, so this is the worst case, and worst case is project is finishing in December 17. And the best case is project is finishing here in the minimum time for 20 of February. This is for time and project finish date. So these are hits. Hits means that we do 100 iterations, okay? In 100 iteration, how many times it was giving the iterations here, all right? For the time and iteration and probability. Okay, so this is the time. If we move to cost, you can see this is the also cost report. In the cost report, we can see that this is the most likely our project is going to finish. Our project budget means that $589,000. And the worst case, our project is finishing 637. The best case, our project is finishing $545,000. System gives you also income calculation because in Primavera we have no income, but in Powerproject you have income. If you also put project income, if you are a contractor, your client is paying you, but you are paying the subcontractor, you can also get income and margin as well. Okay, so you can export this data to Excel as well if you want. And what about the report for sensitivity? We can have here for the sensitivity reports, 97% fabricate and deliver heat pump is control is 97% duration sensitive. We have cost sensitive activities. You can see that fabricate and delivering for the cost sensitive, and critical index. Critical index is also one of the best feedback I can get from this report. What does it mean? 100 version of schedule I have, and 100% of them design build addition activity was critical, because we know that critical path can change. If I have 100 planner, if I put 100 planner in one room, if I give them 10,000 tasks and tell them to do it, the job, I am bet on that none of the planner will have the similar critical path. Because very individual. I am telling you that 100 planner in one room, 10,000 activities, and each of them are making their schedule. None of the schedule will have the same critical path. This is a big challenge, but we are using this kind of things also so that it is very individual. That's why critical index giving you results that this activity was 100% critical during the 100 iterations. And we can come back to for probability reports. In the probability reports that I select for here, for example, P20, okay, and I would like to create here P20 activity. So I am here creating the baseline and call the baseline name probabilistic 20 program. So we call P20 schedule. I created here for the baseline, and it's created here me. You can see that this is my schedule for most likely, and this is for P20 schedule. I can also create here P50. This is the 50% probability of the schedule. And I can also create P80 here. And we call the 80% probabilistic schedule. So I have here 4 schedule in one chart. And now we close it. I am hiding here for critical paths. Sorry. And in the baseline manager, I display here each baseline in different color. And please see here, I have most likely P20, P50, and P80 program. And if you want to see here the budget for P20, you just go here and from the table definition, and this is for my most likely, and I'm adding here new one, and this one I am calling the budget for P20. In this case, selecting the P20 data source, another one P50, and selecting here for the data source for P50. We are adding here PAT, and we apply. And please see now I have also information here for each activity for most likely P20, P50, and P80 for project budgets. For individual activities and total project sum. And if you want, you can also do the same. For example, this is the original duration. You can call the table definition, okay, and duration you can call most likely. Another one you can add, duration we can call P20. And you select here 20. We add here P50. Select the P50, and we add here P80. And apply. And please see now, I have here also for the project durations. Of course, we can just select not to see the minutes. You can just from the table definition. You can also say that I just want to see the dates, not for duration, so that you can change the format. But 81 days, 85 days, 730 days, 700 days, so that you can have here the dates for the projects: 41 days, 43 days, 34 days, and 41 days. You can have for each activity separated duration calculation, so that site preparation activity is most likely 32 days, but 20% probability it was used for 34 days. Okay, so you can do the end date, start date by this way. Is there any question? You can type your question if you have any question. I'm happy to answer it. But later on, we just select Save As, open the Primavera format. Okay, we can save the Primavera format here in XR file. Okay, back. And it's asking you want to use the predecessor calendar or successor calendar. And when you save this one, and if you go to here for your area, you can see that this is saved as a Primavera format. Nobody will understand you did this new schedule baseline program in the Primavera or out of the Primavera. By the way, from the baseline manager, you can also select and go to baseline manager, and from the baseline you can change, okay, which baseline is a master program. You can replace the baseline program with the current one. So that you can say, I don't want to see the 80 and 20 by 50. I want to compare it. And in this case, system will be also hiding the others, okay? So you don't have to display all of them. So you can say that, okay, this will be my second options. Any question? Okay, Mohammed Yusuf is asking if it is the risk analysis feature already included in Powerproject schedule software or is it separated? It is already inside, out of box, no extra cost. Okay, I know that Primavera has Primavera risk analysis, excellent solution, but it is more than $10,000. And many planners want to use Primavera Packmaster or Primavera Risk Analysis, but because of the price is too high, nobody touching. But Powerproject Risk Analysis free of charge. Okay, so you don't have to pay any cost for it. This is out-of-box functionality. Okay. Another question: if how to add different scenarios to schedule. For in this here, which is that when you analyze the risk, okay, and in the risk settings, we are selecting first of all to methods, and here we use the individuals. We apply for all project. By the way, if you want, you can apply for design activities 80%, 120%. Procurement activities 90%, 110%. For construction electrical works 70%, 100. You can also apply separated. Okay. For any specific activities, you can also apply by the using for the code libraries. Let me explain you how it works. Okay. So you can create it here. Let me just select here this durations and lead, and also here duration and lead. Okay, we can create it here for the columns, for the codes, and we can call that this is the risk. So you can go for the code libraries if you want to have applied for risk for individual activities. Okay, so we can create it here in the code libraries. We call the risk. Okay, and in the risk we can say that, okay, I would like to have if 70, 150. So this is the option 1, and we call this one yellow, and another one 80%, 150%, or 80%, 170%, and here 90%, 130%. And here you can just select the colors, green, and here, for example, the reds. Okay, so I have created here the different coding, and in this codes you can create it here for the field called the risk. And if you want to not apply for all projects who are separated, you can select it here, the different codes. So you can have here, okay, I would like to have here 70%, and here this area, so you can apply for the different coding. Okay, and here the different numbers. Also from the code libraries, if you want, you can just select yellow, green, the red, and okay. So you can see that this is the risk probability. When you are running the risk again, you select and apply for the risk. So in this case, system will not apply for all project tests, but it will be using the calculation from the task specific. I hope, Grzegorz, it's okay for your answer. So each activity you can apply different percentage. Another approach, which is here the most likely duration, we can go to columns, and in the duration just find it. We have also here manual entry, so you can have it task probability. Okay, and risk analysis maximum duration, risk analysis minimum duration, which is here. Okay, and then one is a duration. All right, so I have here added 41 days. So I am just putting, this is the most likely. Okay. I just want to put this one to here and this one to here. Okay, so 41 days. This can be 35 days. All right, 35 days minimum. Okay, and 50 days maximum. This second activity is 15 days minimum, 20 days maximum. So you can also apply manually for the minimum and the maximum duration, because it's normal, not all activity we have uncertainty. For example, this activity, we don't mention anything. Okay, so that in this case, we are 100% sure we will have the same. It means that system calculated 32 days and 32 days. And how much you just give the reality, that much of the quality you can get. Hi, Stefano. And Stefano is asking about the budget. Let me tell you one thing, it's a powerful in the Powerproject, because the cost modeling. Yeah. So when you create the one activity, let's call, I have created here, for example, activity called delay. Okay. So I can just show this activity delay. Let me show in the red. And here we just selected the red. Okay, so this is the delay activities, and I created here delay activities. Okay, and this is, let's call 50 days. All right, and delay activities, I am just going and opening the model calculations, all right, for the budget here, and I'm mentioning about that this is a $1,000. My delay activities is $1,000, and I open here the cost allocations, and in this cost allocation, I am modeling this cost to not fixed but time-based cost, and per day $1,000. So my project will have $1,000 extra cost for any extra day we delay. Okay, so if this activity is a 50 days, we are having a 500,000, 50,000 for the delay. If there will be 30 days delay, it will be 30,000. If there will be 100 days delay, it will be 100,000. Okay, so you can model the task, and this task you can call delay task, and this automatic duration can be calculated automatically if you created a special link to project ends as an intermediate task or buffer task, because in Powerproject has an extra task, and the delay will be calculated automatically. So if we have 10 days delay, we will have to pay extra $10,000. So you can also model it and integrate it with the budget. Yeah, and Grzegorz Grzegorz Morawski from Poland, hi, and also mentioning in the comments that we can also add the possibility of adding the distribution type. which distribution type we will use it and which distribution. Yes, this is the correct. So we can create it also these options. Okay, Ketan is asking how to create a risk register. We are not having a risk registration standard like Primavera risk analysis. In Primavera risk analysis, you can register the risk like oil price change, that kind of things. In Powerproject, this is not available, but you can model the task. For example, you can say this task you can call if the oil price change. And you can create another task as a safety issue. And you can create it task as a risk, model it with the budget, model it with the time extension, with the buffer intermediate, and you can have it similar feedback like in Petmaster. But there is no apps inside of Powerproject that you can go and register the risk. I'm just trying to read the questions. The Keaton is asking if how many risk baseline we can create. Unlimited, thousands. And the Powerproject, there is no limit for creating the baseline. You can make it in the 1%. And the good news is in Powerproject, you can also display unlimited baseline. So you can create 100 baseline and you can display and compare the 100 baseline so that there is no limit in Powerproject for the risk the baseline. Akhilesh is asking if we can put the constraints. Yes, for the constraint is a standard. So when you created a task, and you can also go to constraint and you can mention that this risk may happen only this and this time of year. So you can mention the 2 dates, so the baseline. So you can see here, and if I just make a little bit bigger looking, and you can see here that you can apply for the constraints. So that constraint will push the task, not move out of the dates which you give, or not happen earlier, not happen after, and just happen in the middle, or that kind of things. You can apply for the constraints for start on and after, deadline, that these are the constraint types which you can apply. The Keaton is asking if we can assign the risk plan for each risk, each activities. Yes, for each activities we can apply for the different for risk calculation. For the risk breakdown structures, we don't call the risk breakdown structures in system, but as I mentioned that first of all, in Powerproject, we have extremely powerful macro writing functions, which is you can create it here, the factors, okay, like quantity, the quality, impact to quality, impact to time, impact to budget, impact to that kind of safety. You can have a different parameters here, and you can enter, for example, I can create it here, the field called impact to quantity. Maybe I can just try to find other example which I have. No, in here not, I don't have it, but let me just explain. You can create it here, field called impact to time, impact to safety, impact to quantity. And you can give it here low, medium, high. And each factor you give, you can make it also formula and calculating probability or impact. This will be applied for the calculations. All right. Any more question? I think that it's 11 now for our time. By the way, please do not forget to send email to get your certificates. So if you send to email to this email address, we will provide International Valid 1 PDU certificate. Okay. And just write it your name, surname, and please mention about the risk. Okay, in the email option, so that we will provide it very fast, your certificate, and you can have it International Valid Monte Carlo Risk Simulation certificate. Okay. And thank you very much for your time, and I hope that you like the idea about the Monte Carlo. And this is very simple but powerful. In many projects, you can easily implement it. And if you have any request, any question about the Powerproject, together with our international partner, we're happy to make more advanced presentation, or we can provide some period of time, some test versions that you can use this, how to call, you can use this for your testing for your project. This session is recorded and we are going to share it in the LinkedIn for as a tomorrow latest. You can again watch or share with your friends. All right, thank you very much and have a nice day.